heart. Valentine Fiesta. Take one. Take one.
Fiesta, not fiasco?
Fiasco. Fiesta fiasco.
It's an alliteration that we love.
Well, you know, err on the side of the positive. Wasn't that much of a fiasco.
No, it
Look,
wasn't.
and we're only on take one.
I know, that's scary stuff,
That's
right?
never happened before.
Until I screw it up.
You're going to make this take two right now.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. So, Elizabeth has had 5 really cute heart stamps in her foam stamp line for a long time. And every year we talk about them and it's too late. So it's now early January. I'm here in Sacramento and we're filming. And there's a whole reason why this came up. But I said, what about if we dragged out the heart stamps? So
yes.
That's what we did. These 5 adorable little stamps that we used with a gel plate to do some kind of interesting printing. And then we colored. We used Posca paint pens, which we've got on sale. So this is a good time to do this. We have Posca paint pens in all these sizes, and we colored what we stamped and what we printed. And it was a step, a kind of a departure from the things that we normally do.
Yeah.
But it was fun to do something different that was no pressure, that was just kind of a, let's make some cards. Well, our cards. I mean, we're not fussy card makers.
No, we're not.
So, you know, we use 5x7 index cards like a panel card. It fits in a number 7 envelope, and yeah, it works.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And then the other thing is with the panel cards, I made a whole bunch of them, and a few of them I didn't like so much. So the kind of cool thing is you could make 6 or 8 or 10 of them, and then pick your favorite 3. And send them to your favorite 3 people.
And the ones that are left go to the people who are less than favorite.
Yeah, the second tier people can get the second tier cards.
Right? So, I mean, I went quite a kind of monochromatic. Elizabeth will show you some of hers. She went far more colorful than I did. I mean, here's one that I did that's just turquoise on black and white. But she's used some wonderful colors. She coordinated this one with the lilac envelopes that we have. So it just, it all works. And of course,
and pink.
Yeah.
And this is Barb's favorite color combo, pink and purple anyway.
Because I'm always going to be a 12-year-old girl.
And at some point, I don't know if we were doing this or something else, but she was really wishing she had the glitter gel.
Oh, yesterday we were doing something. I said, I need stickles.
Yeah.
But we don't have any at the moment, so we went without some. But stickles on those would have been, if I had stickled this one,
yeah,
I think that would have been pretty cool.
A little glitter on your Valentine, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so the heart stamps, they're fun, and we'll show you how to do it.
Yeah, it's really easy, and it's an opportunity. In fact, this is something that you can do with the kids, because this is a very low pressure kind of thing. Anything that looks like a heart will work. So let's go show them how to do it.
And you don't even need to stay in the lines.
There you go. No, it's better when you don't.
It's better when you don't. All right. So, since it's almost Valentine's Day, and we had these fun purple Astro Bright envelopes, or at least I did, on hand, thanks to Barb, I decided to color coordinate my card with the envelope so that they would match. So the purple paint or the pink paint with the purple markers. So I created all of these samples yesterday, and I was really having fun with this stamp. I don't know what this stamp is called.
That's what I'm going to look for.
Barb's looking it up. So I made a whole bunch of horizontal cards, but then I also made a vertical one. And so I'm going to show you how I did this. It's lots of fun. Ultimately, I just added color with the Posca. But one thing I have to say about this whole process is that this stamp is the only stamp in the whole Valentine Heart collection that is almost symmetrical. So I can stamp on top of after I've gel printed with this stamp because it's nearly symmetrical. It's not perfect, but it lines up in a fun kind of slightly off kilter way. But the other stamps in the collection are not, for example, this one. So when you gel print it, it's going to be backwards. And when you go to stamp it on top, it's going to be the mirror image. And so they're certainly not going to line up because they're not symmetrical. So I'm featuring this one.
Be Still My Heart.
Be Still My Heart. So if you want to achieve what I'm doing in this, you need to make sure you use this one. I don't want you to try to use this one and be frustrated. Okay. So we've got white 5x7 cardstock, and this is the watercolor paper. So it's a bit of a rough surface, which is nice because it picks up a slightly rough and it gives me these kind of rough, kind of grungy effect, which I thought was really cool. And I like the white base. So I'm going to use a purple that I got that it's as close to the envelope. And then, so this is ultramarine violet. And then I've got a permanent blue violet to stamp back on top. So you just want to have a darker color to stamp back on top. So what I'm going to do is put down the base color with the smaller brayer because I don't need to flood the whole plate. And I'm going to put this out, and then I need a...
What you looking for?
Oh, you gave me the roll-off sheet. So now I'm going to take the foam stamp and just press. Let me get this a little smoother. Press into the paint random directions. I'm not even thinking about the card. And then I'm going to stamp it off onto a piece of paper off to the side so I can remove that paint. So I'm just going to, I'm not thinking about which way I'm going to place the card. I'm just going to make the foam stamp kind of go in multiple directions. And each time I stamp it off to the side on a piece of paper so I can remove that paint so that it'll pick up more. So it's removing the paint. And then what I do is I take the card and I try to angle it in here, like how I think it'll look the best with the stamps, like that. And here's the key to getting the edges, kind of some white around the edges, is just to apply your pressure in the middle. If you want it to have that grungy look where it doesn't go out to all the corners. And I kind of like that rather than the full coverage. But if you want the full coverage, then you would press all the way out to the sides. But I'm just applying my pressure in the middle. Let's see how that worked out. Does it look good?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. So now I lift it up and yeah. So here you go. So because I just put the pressure in the middle, I get that rough around the edges, which like I said, is appealing to me. But if it's not appealing to you, then just apply pressure all the way out. Okay. So now the idea is to kind of get that offset print, bringing the heart back in on the top with a darker color, and it's not going to be the mirror image. So it'll be slightly out of register, and that's going to be kind of a cool look. So now we come back in with the dark color, the darker purple. And then this one I'm doing purple on purple. In the samples here, I came back in with a magenta. That's what this kind of darker color is. It was a magenta. But on this one, I'm going to do purple on purple. So I'm going to use this brayer so I can not get the lighter purple blended in. And you need to put the paint down a little bit thicker than you would for a gel print, because now we're basically using this as a stamp pad. So I'm going to put that this way and put the sample like this. And then I'm just going to get that stamp, really good coverage with the dark purple. And then I'm going to come in, and how I've been lining these up is with the point at the bottom of the heart, trying to get it to here. Because like I said, again, it's not going to line up because it's the flip. So the point at the bottom of the heart, I get with the point down here, and the rest of it, I just let it fall, close. Look at that. That's so fun, Barb.
It's one of those things where the perfectionist part of me that I try to avoid knowing wants them to line up perfectly. But when I look at what you do, I realize how interesting it is when they are off register like that.
Yeah, it reminds me of something, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm not certain what it is.
I don't know what it is.
It's definitely a fun look. And I like the purple on purple. I liked the magenta that you did, but I really like that dark purple on that purple.
Yes, me too. This is nice. This is a different altogether. Here. We're working on our non-stick craft mat, which is nice because you would like to keep the back of this clean for writing, but I always get the back of or the inside of my cards dirty. But I only send them to family and friends who aren't going to judge me for fingerprints on the card. They're just happy to get a card, right? But you want to keep your work surface clean if you're worried about that. Look at that.
That's really pretty. And when you start adding other colors, I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah, so then I'm going to let this dry and I'm going to switch up my work surface. You want to make sure that you don't let paint dry on the surface of foam stamps because they'll get crusted and they won't work anymore. So what we're going to do is, before we clean up, we got to stamp an envelope. So here's my envelope and I'm going to put this up here in the return address section. Fun. You could do it. I guess I didn't get very good pressure there. Let me try it again.
Okay. There's another one right there.
Oh, here we go. Okay. I mean, I'm not a perfectionist, but Barb is looking at me like that looks terrible.
I did not.
So we're going to put this down and here. It's a palm-sized stamp. Hopefully that does better. There we go. There we go. It's talking and stamping at the same time. That's the problem. Okay, so there's that. Of course, you could put it on the back, like over the flap like this. You could get creative and you could get a scrap paper and run one off the edge. Like we could do this. We can add another one off the side.
How cute is that?
Right? See how cute that is?
Yeah.
Or additionally, it would be cute to put it right over like a seal, you know, like one of those stamps or whatever. Right over that, right? So
fantabulous.
All of it, some of it, whatever you want to do. So now I'm going to clean up the space, let this dry a little bit more, and then I'm going to come in and show you how you can embellish with the Posca markers to achieve some of these multicolor effects. So now that this is dry, the next step is to embellish with some of our favorite Posca paint pens. And the reason why I love these is that they're opaque and they're paint, so they're going to go right over this paint. And for this particular stamp, I just like coloring in the little spaces in between the lines. Whoops. And that's like really easy as long as your bifocals are lined up, which mine are not. Clearly. And again, these two impressions are not lined up. So if your mark making is not lined up, it doesn't matter. It's all about not lined up, right? So nothing needs to be perfect. So what I'm doing is skipping some spaces rather than making the whole thing yellow and then another one, the whole thing blue and another one, the whole thing pink and so on. I like skipping the spaces and putting a lot of color in each one of them. And then I have a white pen so I can bring back some of the white because our first layer, when I remove the paint, is light. It's not perfectly white, but it's light. So I go through with that one color, then I'll add, okay, so that was apricot. I really like that. It's kind of like, I call it like a creamy yellow. Reminds me of Naples yellow.
Oh, yes, it does.
Basically. Oh, this is mine that has the weird Chinese characters on it. The color is
that sky blue?
Light blue.
Light blue.
Yeah, light blue. And this is my favorite tip is this, which is the PC5M. I always tell Barb this is my favorite tip. It's not super narrow, but it's not super thick, and I think it's really versatile. But everybody's got their favorite, you know? I mean, I think Barb likes something totally different.
It kind of depends on what I'm doing. For writing, you and I both like that PC1MR.
Yes, definitely for signing my artwork, I love that PC1MR.
But depending on the width of the area, I'm going to generally switch between that PC5M you're holding or a PC3M, which is the same shape tip, but it's a little bit smaller.
That's what this one is, right?
Yes, that's a 3M.
The 3M. So it's the bullet point, but a little bit smaller. I mean, you know, thank goodness Posca makes so many of the tips because it just all depends on what you want to do with it. And I certainly have a huge variety of tips and colors. But I got to say, this sky blue is like one of my favorites. And also the turquoise.
It's that new color that they call, I think it's called aqua green.
Yeah.
It's a really pretty, for a long time it was only available in 1 or 2 tips.
Right.
And then they smartened up and realized that there was enormous amounts of people who wanted this. And so they brought that aqua green out in, I think, 2 or 3 other tip sizes.
Well, I need to get it in 2 or 3 other tip sizes because I only have it in this. And I would sign my work with aqua green / teal. I mean, everybody loves teal.
It is, for the most part, I would say that teal is the color that most people gravitate toward.
Yeah.
Everybody's different, but there are a lot of people who love teal.
Yeah, and in my experience with workshop students and stuff, everybody loves teal paint. Even if there's no teal in their reference, we figure out how to work it in because it's just such a great color. So yeah, so you can see how opaque. Because here's a light pink marker, and you can see how it's going right over that medium purple underneath it, which is significantly darker than this marker. Now, that's because these are paint markers. If you were to just use a regular marker, you wouldn't get this kind of coverage, this opaque coverage. So I do like that. Okay, so we've got that. And to go along with my white paper, white edges, white stamp, I'm going to lighten up some of these lines from the original and add some of the dots from the outside edge of the heart and kind of just reinforce. So really, this is really fun and easy and relaxing to do because you're just redrawing what has already been created with the foam stamp. So, that's always easy. And Barb and I were doing this yesterday for quite a while. And we were just commenting on how fun and relaxing the doodling is. Just drawing, coloring with the pens, stamping with the stamps, and,
There's a reason coloring books were so popular, adult coloring books were so popular for a while. I mean, everybody gravitated toward that and realized how enjoyable it was to have to do nothing more than fill in the lines with a color of your choice. And that's a lot of what this is.
Yeah, that's a lot of what this is. And how cool is it that you can have some fun doing this and then send them out to your family and friends, because not a lot of people send cards anymore. So it's kind of an extra special treat to go to your mailbox and get something like this. So it's win-win, because if you've got time to just kind of sit and doodle with them, it's very relaxing. It's about the process, not necessarily always the product with what we're doing, right?
Agreed.
It's about enjoying the process. So there we go. Check that out. That's the nicest one I made, all hands down. Okay, so then lastly, what I had done on some of the other ones was I took the pen and added a few more hearts. Right, I could do that. And could do a little white heart, bring the white back in. Didn't leave myself much room for that. That's good.
Maybe it's just one random white heart.
One little
it's
white
like
heart.
Waldo.
Be still my white heart.
There you go.
There, so check that out. I love that. And it's gonna go, oh, well, guess what? We should add a little bit of that color on here, right?
There you go. Might as well make it all coordinate.
I mean, I'm not a matchy person, but why not? Because these markers are going to go over this envelope color as well. I use these when I address boxes to my kids. I draw hearts all over the box with the Posca pens. I'm sure they love that. But yeah, look at how nicely that apricot color goes right over the purple.
Posca's make the Unisigno is the parent company, but they make a really nice paint marker. There's just no question about it.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. So there we go. There we go. So now I have my matching card and envelope, and I've had so much fun doing it.
I'm not even going to attempt to tell you the name of this stamp because Elizabeth named it in German, and I'm going to let her tell you the name of it.
The name of it is Ich liebe dich, which means I love you in German.
So I'm just going to refer to it as I love you, as I love all of you. My process was a little bit different. The removing the color from the plate is the same as what Elizabeth did, but rather than one color, I rolled out several and then I kind of blended them together. So to do that, could you hand me that small brayer? Thank you, I forgot to grab it. I'm gonna use, I think this is an 1.5-inch brayer, and then I'm gonna smooth the color out with a 6 because it's handy. You could use a 4, doesn't really make that much difference. And I'm working on black. Elizabeth was working on the watercolor and I chose to go with the black. So I lost my train of thought. Oh, I know. All right, so I have 3 colors. I have light rose, I have azo yellow deep, and then I have primary magenta. I'm going to go ahead and just put dots of color out, and then I'm gonna blend them, move them around with the small brayer, and then I'm gonna smooth them all out with the larger one. Now, interestingly enough, if you look at this card, the yellow on the black has a tendency to look green, but I can tell you that it was yellow. I think it was this yellow. I mean, we have tubes of paint spread all over the place here, so it's liable to have been a different one, but we'll wing it. So let's go ahead. Oops, that was more than I expected. So all I'm gonna do is just blend these colors and spread them out. This is a lot of paint. I might have gone overboard there. I could probably get a second index card if I get that motivated. So I'm just creating kind of smushy areas of color. Thank you. But you can see the marks from the brayer, and I'm gonna smooth that out by using the large brayer. So if I roll that color off, and then I grab the big brayer. I don't wanna do this too many times because it'll overblend the colors, but I do wanna take some of the lines out and some of the big areas or the splotchy areas of color like that. All right, so that looks pretty good. And you have to be careful because the urge is to go ahead and overdo that. So I'm gonna take the I love you stamp and I'm just gonna pick this color up. And Elizabeth, thank you, is giving me a place to stamp it off to the side here. You wanna clean the paint off of the stamp, because if you don't, each time you go to come back and pick it up, it picks up less and less paint. So it's just kind of a random placing them and letting them happen. And I want to deliberately do this so that some of the imagery falls off of the index card. All right, I've only got 1 card, so I don't have to get too fancy here. Just put that like that. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna, well, I probably have enough to do 2, so we'll just get crazy and do 2. Although one of them is only gonna have a little bit of the hearts on it, but that's okay. Let's come and we'll press this. And then pick this up. So you can see you get all that kind of splotchy color on this edge. I didn't get a lot of color, but that's okay, because it really depends on what you're trying to achieve. And here is mine. Now you can see, and this is how I fell into what I did on the one I'm gonna show you. When I lifted the color, it didn't lift as much as I thought it would, or I expected it to. So that was why I decided to come back with the Posca and color them in. And I think that it worked out pretty well that way. So if I pull these in, here is my original. This is the one where the lines were not particularly distinct. Now this one is a little bit more so, but that's okay. I like the idea of coloring them in with the pink, and I'm not gonna make you watch me color all of these because that's just kind of silly. I'm using, this is a PC5M and the color is fuchsia. Any pink, I mean, anything that coordinates with what you want to do is fine. And I'm just gonna follow the lines. I mean, it really is that simple. Now, in some places, the lines are gonna get thicker than what I can do with one pass of the marker. So I'm just gonna choose to go along one edge, and then I'll come back and I'll fill in the larger area. So here I need to color in and make that a little bit thicker. And you'll find that when you go over the color, sometimes when the original line is still wet, you will get more of a blend than an overlay of color. So what I found that I had to do was I came back and I added multiple coats just to kind of smooth the color out a little bit, so it was more, the value was the same and the intensity was the same, and it didn't look kind of messy as I went along. If I wanted to, I could take this same stamp and do what Elizabeth did, which would be to stamp on one of those purple envelopes, or if I had one of the pink ones here, I could stamp on that. I mean, I'm really not going to because you've seen her do that, but even a purple envelope would work just fine with this. So grab your stamps, grab your Poscas, grab your gel plate, and go have some fun with this.
Well, we hope you found that fun and exciting and inspiring. And
yeah, just take a chance to have some fun. That's kind of a relaxing. I said this in the video, this is why adult coloring was such a big thing for such a long time, because it's very stressless. You just get to play with color and have a good time.
yeah, and who doesn't like that?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, we'll be back. We'll see you next week.
Bye.